It's not the situation you want to be in, but it's one where more and more Canadians find themselves. Thousands of us fall victim to identity theft every year and often don't know about it until the damage is done. Our Q&A this week kicks off with that question. How do I know if I am a victim of identity theft? Jeffrey Schwartz is the Executive Director of Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. Thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome.
Sounds like a kind of an obvious question to me, how do I know? But apparently people often don't know until kind of well into the process or well after it's actually happened. How does that happen? How do you find out?
And that's the big concern, is they've gone too far down the road. So if you're getting calls on bills that you don't have from a collection agency, or perhaps you're getting mail indicating that you've been accepted for credit that you didn't apply for, or even denied credit you didn't apply for, these are some of the telltale signs that someone's probably hacked into your identity and they're doing things on your behalf that you are unaware of.
Like a lot of crimes out there, there is a perception, I think, that the internet has made it worse. Is that true? Is identity theft more of a problem today than it was 15 years ago?
I would suggest, yeah, and the complaints to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre have increased as well. And I think we're really just at the beginning of it, too. I mean, we have a lot of great things out there to improve protection as it relates to our credit cards with the chip and PIN technology and everything. But what happens when someone gets hold of your information, that they can go and apply for a legal credit card? So all of a sudden they're doing this, and it's quite a valid credit card or something else that they're doing with your identity, and you don't have any control. It's completely out of your hands.
So what are the most common ways that people are able to steal your identity? What should people look out for?
Well, I look at this whole subject of really it's protection, mitigation, and correction. And let's talk about protection.
Yeah.
It's really strong passwords. I mean, we're seeing it all over the place. And I think the Starbucks thing that came out today, they're blaming it on the fact that people had weak passwords. I mean, you don't want to use your birth date. You don't want to use your wife's name or your husband's name, your children's name, your dog's name. You want it to be strong, and you want it to be with different digits, not something like your birthday or the year of birth. And you want to change it frequently. These are critical. Know where you're surfing. If you're on the internet and you're doing some online shopping, understand and know the sites that you're visiting. Make sure that they're secure as best as you possibly can. There's all sorts of icons, certificates that are out there that identify themselves as a secure site.
So most of the stealing is actually taking place online. It's not someone intercepting your mail or any other kind of fraud that's taking place.
A lot of it's happening there, but
Yeah.
it can be happening anywhere. I mean, shred documents at home before you throw them out.
Yeah.
Because they just need a few pieces of identification to actually take your identity and apply for something that's legitimate.
I mean, you talk about the fact that you have to be really careful with your passwords. One of the things I've heard people say is, I have dozens of passwords. How do I remember them all? And so you hear people saying that they use the same password over and over and things like that. Is there a solution for that? I know that smartphones often have password keepers and things like that. Are they secure?
Well, I guess to some degree. I'm not an expert on that, but truthfully, I mean, I want to keep changing them. So let's not use the same ones over and over. Maybe put it into your diary to say, listen, I'm going to change this every month, every 2 months, and I'm going to go through a different one. And maybe you have a pattern of how you ask yourself questions, and that's your password for the next 60 or 90 days.
All right. And now you talk about mitigating. So tell me a little bit about that. When you find out that you've been a victim, how do you very quickly mitigate the damage?
Well, speed is key here, and you want to make sure that you're showing the people that are depending on you, like your lender, your creditors, and anybody who's accessing your information, that you're being as responsible as you possibly can. So speed is key. And one of the ways you want to do that is perhaps a credit monitoring service.
How does that work?
Well, you can apply for a monthly service, and they'll monitor your credit and give you reports. And they even do it in real time. If someone's applied for credit or reviewed your credit profile, they can send you a message, an alert that someone has done that, and then you can react rather rapidly. Now, one of the banks in Canada is doing this. I'm not sure that all the banks are, but you can get a text alert every time your credit card is used. I mean, if you're using your credit card 100 times a day, it can be cumbersome, but most people don't. It's 1, 2, 3, 5 times a day, so it's not bad to know how and when your credit card is being used.
Just very quickly, because the credit monitoring is interesting. I know there's a charge associated with
Yes.
that. I've also read that there's ID theft insurance. Do products like that, are they worth the price at the end of the day when you assess the risk of actually being hacked?
It can be. I mean, truth be, there is a cost associated with it, and it can be if you're using your credit card a lot and your identity is really important to you in that way. But the other side of it is banks are really good about it. They've got a zero liability attitude towards if there's been a fraud on your account. And if you show that, listen, this is a fraud and I've done everything I can to protect myself, they're going to protect you in that regard.
I think a lot of people are worried that that won't continue, that as this becomes more prevalent, the banks are going to have to start passing some of the costs on to consumers.
And that would be a concern. Right now, we're not at that point. So that's why I say do whatever you can to protect yourself, mitigate any issues, and understand how to make a correction if the need arises.
All right, Jeffrey Schwartz, thank you very much.
You're welcome.